Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I've got your first gameplay and overview of the Kfir C10. This is a currently rank 8 battle rating 13.0 jet fighter in the Israeli Air Tech Tree event vehicle, by the way, so it will not receive premium RP and SL bonuses, but this vehicle does fly under the Columbian flag, which is interesting because I think that this is the first Columbian vehicle in all of War Thunder. Now, that said, this is the top level aviation reward for the Winter Tales event, and it's a pretty interesting vehicle. So this vehicle itself is pretty old, right? The Kfir is an old line of vehicles. It's a pretty old airframe, old technology for the most part when it comes to its performance. And as you can see here, even though this is 13.0 BR, it has the same exact stats as the Kfir Canard, which is 11.0 BR, and also the Kfir C2. And that's just being that it has the same exact engine, pretty much the same aerodynamics. Interestingly, even though this has a much longer nose, I would expect that its max speed would drop, but I guess not, at least not yet. But that longer nose houses a nice radar. Now, this is actually a very, very powerful radar. I've been using it, and I'm actually genuinely surprised by how good it is. Also, you do have a helmet-mounted display, which is really nice, which means that you can aim off of bore sight, and also means that you can basically just aim wherever your camera is pointing, so long as it's within a certain range around your vehicle. But that being said, this vehicle can carry up to 4 missiles, up to 4 Derby missiles, which are ARH or otherwise known as Fox 3 missiles. Or, of course, you can replace them with Python 3 missiles, which are also really good in their own right, but I suspect most people will be bringing out the Derbys. Now, these do have a pretty decently long range. Of course, they start to lock on by their own internal radar around 16 kilometers, and they also have a pretty nice max speed of 4 Mach, and also have a 40G overload, which is pretty nice. So these are among some of the better, I would say, ARH missiles. So having 4 of them, especially at 13.0 BR, might not be all too bad, but we'll have to wait and see. So that being said, let's go ahead and get into a few matches, see how we do with this thing, and see if it's actually pretty good or if it kind of sucks. So that's it. Let's get into it. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you guys the different radar modes. As you can see, there are a lot of them. Also, you'll be able to see probably really soon. I mean, the cloud cover is a tiny bit of an issue, but this thing locks on to enemies pretty much right at the range. So right now I've got this set at 40 kilometers. In my opinion, I think 40. Yeah, look at that. Exactly 40. Pretty much. It's just crazy. This is a really good radar. Like, I'm genuinely sometimes, like, you know, it'll kind of pick up, you know, sometimes, but it's been really consistent to 40 kilometers of range. So once we get to, I don't know, like 20-ish kilometers, I'm going to probably launch on this guy. Also, the radar warning receiver is actually really good. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Drop once I get to within 16. I know or around 16. I know the, whatchamacallit is well within range by that time anyways. So it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to go ahead and just switch over to my standard radar mode at this point, because I do not feel like continually exposing myself. Oh, we missed him! Oh, so close. But that said, like I said, you have the helmet-mounted display, which is fantastic. That SU-27 is going down anyways. One of the big problems with the Mirage... Actually, is he? One of the big problems with any Mirage, really, like any vehicle like this, same goes for MiGs, is the fact that it has not very good energy retention. And so I'm going to go ahead and just hide a little bit here. I do not feel like doing whatever. Let the missiles take themselves into the enemy. Hopefully, okay, we have ourselves 1 kill, and it was close. It was close. So that's not too bad. I'm going to go ahead and launch on this guy too. He is already out there. Probably not the best idea, but could be worse. He's already going to die, I think. Well, if nothing else, we could go ahead and get that aircraft finished off. Now, if you guys don't know, what I like to do in all of these... Oh, this would be perfect for the Python or for a Derby right here. But as you guys probably know, what I like to do in all of these matches is make sure that I'm doing it, you know, accurately. Last thing I want is to go out and be like, oh, well, look at this. You know, this is an amazing plane. And, you know, meanwhile, it's not good. I like to show you guys as real of gameplay as possible. Also, this does not have radar-assisted gun sights, so that's interesting. So that said, let's go ahead, at least from what I just saw, let's go ahead, get into the next match, see how we do. Again, these are matches that you could expect to have with the Kfir Canard. I'm not just including like a 4 or 5, or Kfir C10 rather. I'm not just expecting, or I'm not just going to show like a 4 or 5 kill match because whatever. I'm just trying to show you guys this so that you know what to expect when you're grinding for these vehicles, and possibly if you want to buy it on the marketplace. That said, next match. So, ultimately, when it comes down to planes at and around this BR, you have it where it's a little bit weird, right? Like, back at, like, I don't know, 5.7 BR, you have Spitfires, BF-109s, Mustangs, FW-190s, etc. You have a lot of different types of aircraft, and the aircraft itself is largely, not entirely, but largely what matters at that BR. And so, I'm just going to go ahead and switch off of that search mode, but it's largely what matters at and around that BR. But at these high BRs, it's more so about the radar that you carry, as well as the missiles. More so the missiles that you carry. And it's just like, probably should have allowed some data uplink on that, but whatever. Hopefully we can get ourselves some 2 kills here. Derbies are really good, by the way. Oof. Oof. Really good. But, you know, in that regard, the Kfir has enough performance to be able to get into position for the most part. Like, you're not going to be able to recover from a turn quite as well, and you're going to lose more energy in turns compared to... Ooh, that was ugly. Compared to a lot of other people. And so long as you can kind of avoid that trap, you should be okay. I might die here. Hopefully I don't get kill versus an ally. That would be really terrible. Okay, let's go for this MiG-21. Typically, I'm not a fan of gunning MiG-21s just because they're so thin. It's kind of like the same thing as going after like an FW or an F-109, or F-104 rather. But I'm going to die here. But long story short, when it comes down to like these vehicles... Oh, look at that. I'll take... Really? It didn't count that as a kill. That's so silly. But when it comes down to these things, I think the derbies thus far are great. The plane itself has subpar performance, but it's made up for by the derbies, and I'm really surprised by how good this radar is. I cannot say that enough. The performance on this thing is just good enough, especially if all you're doing is flying in a straight line, and then you can launch your missiles, that's fine. But if you're trying to gunfight at this BR with this aircraft, it's not going to be nearly as good as like an F-16 or a MiG-29. That said, let's get into one final match. But thus far, I've been surprised by this thing in a good way. So here we are in the final match with the Kfir C10, and if you guys notice, my voice might sound a little bit different, but there is a reason for that. My old microphone just kind of up and died. So thankfully, I had a replacement on hand, and that's what you're hearing. So let me know if you guys think that it sounds better, sounds worse, sounds about the same, or equivalent quality, whatever, however you want to say it, because that is important to me. Now, that said, I do actually have derbies and Python 3s on this thing, so I did want to show you what Python 3s look like. Now, unfortunately, they lack IRCCM, which means that it's basically... infrared, right? Infrared countermeasures, if I'm not mistaken. So basically, IRCCM would more or less kind of make it so that flares are less effective against them. And this means that flares are going to be perfectly usable against the Python 3, but they have really, really good statistics, flying characteristics, like 40 Gs of overload, they're fast, all that sort of stuff. Python 3s, insofar as like IR-guided missiles are concerned, are easily among the best, at least insofar as, like, you know, non-IRCCM missiles are concerned. So, we are going to fly up here. As you can see, I do have the Pulse Doppler still equipped here, or that mode on. The reason being is, one, because I want to test it, but two, I'm going to be using the Python 3s in a moment. We have this F-20... Gonna go fire that AIM 120 at him, or the derby rather, And we got the hit. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it, but basically, when it comes to these derbies, I've been getting a lot of crits. Not nearly as many severe hits or severe damages as I would expect. They don't really get the job done all that much for whatever reason. It's like, even though they get direct hit a lot of the time, they just don't really have all that much explosive filler, it almost kind of feels like, which is a bit strange. Now, we have an enemy up there. I'm just going to go ahead and launch on him. But this is good, because... Oh, he's dead. That was an F-15. But this is good, because now we can focus on the Pythons, which are, as you can see, helmet-mounted display linked. Now, when it comes to this vehicle in general, people are going to ask, well, is it any good? Is it bad? What about the vehicle? Well, the Kfir C10 really is not a very impressive vehicle. While it does have helmet-mounted display, while it does have decent enough performance, it bleeds speed like holy cow levels of speed very, very quickly. Okay, someone just launched on me. But it bleeds speed incredibly quickly. And that really, really sucks. We're going to go ahead and launch probably on this F-15. If I can get around to it. Yes, we can. And get a little closer. And there we go. 40 Gs of overload. Let's see, can I track him? I can! Look at that! We lack IRCCM, but we got the kill. Okay, we have that Su-33. I think he's firing on me. Oh, yes, he is. Let's go ahead and get away, and I'm dead anyways, but we have the kill. Very nice. 2 kills, 1 assist. But that being said, do I like this plane? The weapons that it carries, the radar that it has, they're very, very good. All of them. The Derby missiles, for whatever reason, have a knack for getting critical damage and not severe damage or a one-hit kill. Tell me if you guys have been experiencing that, if you already have the Kfir C10 or a Derby missile-carrying vehicle, but they do seem a bit weak insofar as that's concerned, but they do have a pretty damn good rate of actually hitting the enemy, which is good anyways. I mean, whether you get a crit or not, typically a crit just means that they're going to die very soon, even if it doesn't mean that you're going to get the kill for it. The overall vehicle performance is a bit subpar compared to other vehicles. You lose energy faster than almost everyone else that you'll be fighting, and you do not get the energy back after a turn quicker than... You're probably going to be quicker on the energy reuptake, or slower rather, than almost every other plane. So, it's a good plane, but it has some faults. You just have to kind of not bring it into dogfights, into quick turning maneuvers all too often, and make use of your excellent radar. But that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone. The Kfir C10, in my opinion, very good. I wouldn't buy it for more than $25 or $30. It's an event vehicle, not a premium. Take care, everyone.